If you've been in the Naruto fandom long enough, you have likely heard people state that Kakashi, he's gotten weaker after losing the Sharingan because people, they equate him being unable to use the overpowered abilities of the Sharingan Eye and being unable to safely perform the Chidori and Raikiri to him losing the Sharingan, which is true. And they use that as the main reason to say, hey, Kakashi is weaker. However, that is far from the truth. He lost hacks. However, he did grow stronger. While there was an initial setback due to Kakashi losing the Sharingan, again, he did in fact grow stronger after losing it. And in today's newest edition of After Naruto Shippuden, over here on Naruto Explained, we're going to take a look at the moment in the Naruto timeline where we can say definitively, using scaling information, that Kakashi became stronger than he was when he possessed the Sharingan. Again, he doesn't have the hacks of the Sharingan, but he is physically stronger and faster than he was when he ever had it. And it might shock you to know that this occurred 1 year after the ending of the Fourth Ninja War, and we'll be providing some much needed clarity to a much famed and talked about scene that you've probably heard mentioned here on YouTube before. You've probably seen it on Reddit, Facebook, and etc., where people talk about the moment where Kakashi used so much chakra that he created a thunderstorm in the sky and he summoned rain clouds and lightning bolts and he knocked himself unconscious. We're gonna add much needed context to that scene. So for those of you guys who are new here on the channel, After Naruto Shippuden is a series where we take a look at events and stories that take place between Naruto chapters 699 and chapter 700, better known as the blank period to Naruto fans, the era after the Fourth Ninja War but before the Boruto era, where Naruto stops Boruto from painting on the Hokage monument. Some of these stories, they were adapted into the Naruto Shippuden anime, but a lot of them either weren't adapted or they were only partially adapted. Hence, this series is called After Naruto Shippuden. In the scene we're going to be going over, which comes to us via the Kakashi Hiden story, Lightning in the Frozen Sky, which takes place 1 year after the Fourth Ninja War, Kakashi and Might Guy, they had previously found themselves locked in the battle with a pair of Ice League users. One of them had previously battled base Naruto and managed to escape earlier in the story, and the duo, they were quite formidable. The brother Ryūha was able to fight Might Guy and hold his own against Guy, who was only using one leg for obvious reasons, but battling hard enough that he sent Ryūha flying through the floor of the airship they're on. He's using nunchucks to fight off his ice release before Ryūha eventually exploits Might Guy's motion sickness and he wins that battle. The sister Kakashi, on the other hand, she was stronger than her brother and fully capable of pushing Kakashi in battle. She showed it wasn't a fluke when she nearly caught base Naruto with her attack earlier in the story, and she pushed Kakashi not only to a stalemate, and at times she briefly had him on a defensive despite Kakashi using purple lightning multiple times during the fight, with her showcasing the speed that would give even the fourth Raikage trouble when she dodged his lightning chakra mode lariat several times during that fight. This is a very clear instance of upscaling for Kakashi by extension. This was one sign showing how much Kakashi leveled up. Here was a fighter who was driven from the grief of having lost her son during the Fourth Ninja War and believing that Madara's world without winners and losers was the correct one, and her grief caused her to train harder. She was already a elite Jonin level shinobi. It caused her to train harder in grief, and she was not only successful with tagging base Naruto with her Ice Leash Jutsu, but she also kept pace and she outsped the Raikage's lightning chakra mode. Yet here we have Kakashi matching her blows and her speed despite her having defeated the Raikage, which again, this is only 1 year after the war. So this is not old man Raikage from the Boruto era. This is the Raikage at 48 years old, 1 year after the war. In the build up to this scene we're going to go over, Kakashi, he has managed to get released from Kaheyo's Ice Release Sealing Jutsu and was on the verge of firing up purple lightning when he realized that she wanted him to kill her alongside her brother to repent for her sins from joining that Madara and Otsutsuki worshipping cult, very similar to the one that Boro was the leader of in the Boruto anime. Very similar ideology. And so Kakashi withdraws his attack, but as he tries to talk sense into her, the airship they're on, it erupts into flames. Ryūha had previously been sending a mix of innocent hostages as well as his own shinobi down with parachutes to jump out of the airship so that the passengers' bags, they would explode when they landed on Hozuki Castle, and in the chaos, the shinobi serving under him, they would attempt to break their boss that Naruto captured earlier in the story out of prison at Hozuki Castle. While Shikamaru and Sakura, both of whom are jonin at this point, led the team of Team Kurenai and Team Asuma to round up the prisoners that had escaped and battle all the shinobi there. Kakashi winds up displaying a level of power that makes it very clear he has indeed surpassed his war power level, which should have been obvious earlier, unleashing the power after failing to save Ryūha after he realized the error of his ways. The airship that they are on, it is rapidly moving through the air, getting dangerously close to reaching the Armstrong limit, which is 60,000 feet above sea, and it is the point where the air becomes lethally thin and the blood in the human body, it boils. The airship that he's on, it has enough explosives on it that if it crashes, it would nuke the area, which is why the Tsuchikage, he's prepared to shoot the whole thing down with his particle style, because it's on a collision course with the Hidden Stone Village at the direction it's going into. So he has a responsibility as a Kage to protect his village. This leads to Kakashi coming up with a plan to put out the fires on the airship in combination with Keihao's Ice Release Jutsu to make the airship, which is powered by a balloon, begin to cool down enough to lower the altitude and the speed of the airship so that it can be safely brought to a stop without triggering the explosion. To do this, Kakashi has to perform a feat that has been taken out of context for the last 10 years since this story was first published after Naruto's manga ended. So with the scene and the context being set, it's here. I'm going to read this scene from the story in its entirety, and then I'm going to come back to you guys with some context, and it's going to be here. I'm going to begin quoting. "Oi, Kakashi," the Tsuchikage called. Kakashi and Keihaoh, they exchanged glances. Keihaoh nodded. He knew that she and they were of the same mind. There was no going back. "What are you doing? Hurry up or I'll have to shoot down the airship with you on it," Onoki said. Kakashi ignored him. He didn't have time to let the Tsuchikage finish speaking. Kakashi kicked out the broken floorboards and leapt out of the airship. His body danced in the air. There were thousands of empty meters between himself and the ground. The wind ran fingers through his hair, and with hardened determination, he stared upwards. The ice from the atmosphere coated his eyes. "Here goes," Kakashi said as he kicked over Onoki. "You fool, what are you doing here?" Onoki shouted. Kakashi looked over at Keihaoh. He then concentrated the chakra of his entire body into his right arm. He was going to make it rain. "Kakashi," Keihaoh shouted. "The rest is up to you, Keihaoh," Kakashi shouted back at her. Pulling his arm, shining dazzling white hot, far backwards, Kakashi gathered all the chakra from every cell in his body, and Kakashi unleashed it in one powerful gigantic blast, beating back the rain clouds around him with every bit of the chakra he could pour into his purple lightning. Kaboom! The incredible force made the clouds split, and for a moment he caught a glimpse of the blue sky. The force was so much that Kakashi was almost sent flying backwards from his own jutsu. Onoki opened his eyes wide in surprise at the display of power. Purple lightning, physical lightning, was gushing from every inch of his body, shooting out at every direction, piercing nearby clouds. The lightning made from his chakra called more lightning, summoning it. The rain clouds, they pulled together, lightning bolts surging. "Lord Tsuchikage, hide in my shadow." "I don't need you to take care of me," Onoki roared backwards. "Honestly, these Konoha shinobi, they go to such absurd lengths," Onoki shouted. A bolt of lightning flashed from his chakra. Angry thunder erupted in the sky, and a lightning bolt split maple trees on the ground in half. Onoki, his eyes widened in shock. "Kurotsuki, don't just stand there. Go help that idiot Kakashi," Onoki shouted as Kakashi was blown backwards through the air, falling unconscious towards the ground to his death. It felt like he had been unconscious for hours, but it had only been a few seconds as the rain hit his cheeks. End quote. So in case you don't get what Kakashi did here, he basically uses purple lightning in a similar manner, but a different manner to how Sasuke uses his own chakra to guide lightning for Kirin when he uses it. Whereas Sasuke has to heat up the atmosphere to make the storm clouds converge, and then he has to use his own chakra to guide the lightning bolts for Kirin when it makes that dragon-like appearance. Kakashi takes a similar application, but because he's already thousands of feet in the air, so literally high enough where the clouds, they're rain clouds by him, he releases all the chakra from his body to a point where he gets knocked unconscious from the output from producing so much chakra. His own chakra was making lightning bolts from every inch of his body, and he's pumping out so much chakra, he could pierce the clouds in the sky above him, and he could split trees that are thousands of feet below him. The way that this was presented in the past, it made people seem like Kakashi was on the ground releasing every drop of his chakra to where it splits the entire sky when he makes the purple lightning bolt fire off, and that's not quite true. Again, he's already thousands of feet in the air, moving at super fast speeds when he shot out that enormous amount of chakra. It's still impressive as hell, releasing 100% of one's chakra for an attack to a point where it is visible. It is a really big deal as he is producing a high volume of chakra. In order to do so, there are not many shinobi capable of releasing 100% of their chakra. And as you expect, Kakashi, he's very exhausted after this. Again, the guy briefly loses consciousness when using this attack, and he briefly parted the sky and created that lightning storm. It does say a lot that the Tsuchikage, someone who battled Madara and saw what suppressed Edo Tensei Madara could do in battle, saw the power of the Ten Tails, including the Ten Tails make a mini cataclysm. He saw Kakashi release this much power, and it left him speechless, because this is more than what a non-Jinchuriki Six Paths character should be capable of doing. The stray lightning bolts themselves, they are splitting trees thousands of feet on the ground, which is insane. This is hands down the most amount of force Kakashi has ever used for purple lightning, but it should be worth noting Kakashi had the benefit of, again, being this high up in the sky where there are clouds that are there in order to generate additional lightning. So it's like lightning on top of lightning. The benefit to doing this is that the rain cools down the airship that Kakashi and Kageo are on, and Kageo takes a similar path as Kakashi, where she uses all of her chakra to slow the speed of the airship and uses the ice release to guide the airship safely down towards the ground at a speed where it doesn't cause an explosion by that chain reaction. And she's using so much of her own chakra that it's making ice crystals that are visible in the sky to the people watching on the ground, as she uses insane chakra control to safely guide the ship down. Onoki was in shock both in regards to the power he saw, which that's a lot of power, as well as Kakashi's own stupidity, as he calls it, because he performed a move that could have killed him multiple ways. Too much chakra expelled at once, and he blows himself backwards and he falls to his death. If he literally uses all of his chakra, which he uses 100%, but he stops just short of getting to absolute zero, to the point where you can't mold any more chakra, that is death in the Naruto world. The fact that his chakra is visible and creating lightning bolts out of every inch of his body was a sign that Kakashi had insane chakra control here. He pushed himself to his limits, which is why Onoki steps in at the very last minute to make sure that the Hokage does not get himself killed on his watch when Kakashi blows himself backwards with enough force it knocks him unconscious. But the end result is that not only did Kakashi display a level of power that earned the respect of someone like Onoki, but it also showed his power level had increased, because this is a better feat of power than anything Mangekyo Sharingan Kakashi ever did in the war arc at any point before he got Obito Six Paths Chakra. So no DMS Kakashi counts. As for like why didn't Kakashi use purple lightning in a similar manner during Naruto last, this is where we got to use a little bit of common sense when people bring this up. So yes, he had purple lightning at this point in the story. That was something that happened 1 year after this scene. However, the movie novel makes it clear that the meteor that's coming towards Konoha, it was larger, it was denser, and it was moving faster than any of the other meteors that were coming anywhere else on the planet. And when Rock Lee and the Suicide Corps, a team of Inner Gates users, were unable to destroy the meteor, despite Rock Lee using the sixth gate, he was able to split it in half. The half that was coming towards Konoha was dense enough it would have destroyed the entire village. This is where the common sense aspect needs to come into play. So if Kakashi uses purple lightning the exact same way that he did here, where he expels all of his chakra, enough chakra where he blows himself backwards because he can't contain the force of the explosion, he might have destroyed the meteor. He likely would have destroyed the meteor, but the area of damage would have been too much for Kakashi to even have a hope to contain it. Look at how close that meteor is to the village itself. There would have been more collateral damage. Like in the movie novel, it's Kakashi stepping forward before Sasuke arrives on the scene. Kakashi's preparing to act, and it directly says that he is prepared to die, fully prepared to die, when suddenly 1,000 birds start chirping and Sasuke appears. And Sasuke does not have to use as much chakra in order to destroy the meteor, because one, Sasuke's stronger, and two, he can contain the area of damage and actually direct the flow of damage upward, which is what Sasuke did. Hence, no damage was done to the village. Whereas Kakashi would have needed to release all of his chakra, Sasuke, that's just a drop in the bucket for him. It's easier to contain damage when you're not using all your chakra for destructive force. But again, this is a very impressive feat by Kakashi here. I don't think anybody would be mad that Kakashi's not on the same level as a base Sasuke 1 year, 2 years after the war. There's a bit more to Kakashi's power creep after the war, and I have an editor working on a video that goes into extensive detail on that, because otherwise this would be a 40-minute video, but that video won't be ready for some time. But while you wait on that, how strong is Kakashi without the Sharingan video, you want to click here to watch more videos from the After Naruto Shippuden playlist, or you can click here to watch this video from my Anime Explained channel where I discuss non-Naruto content.